welcome to another Community Action Show, where we take a look at nonprofit businesses around the county and organizations to see how they are helping the citizens of Columbus County better their lives each and every day. Today, I am pleased to have with me as my guest Reverend Darryll Hester, who is the co-director of the Columbus Baptist Association Toy Store, and Reverend Titus Caraway, who is also the co-director of the Toy Store. Gentlemen, thank you for being with us today. We're going to jump into some questions. And so, Brother Darryll, let me start with you. Can you kind of give us the history of the Toy Store and how many years you've been doing this?
The Toy Store started in the western part of North Carolina. I think it's been about 20 years ago. It's a nonprofit ministry. It is in other states now, but it's not only a ministry to provide a good Christmas to families, but also treats each of the families with dignity and respect. And some areas have been very successful in their being able to minister to a lot of people. And we counted a great success that has taken place here in Columbus County as well. Each family gets to hear the gospel message, and this is our 10th year that we're celebrating Toy Store.
That's wonderful. 10 years in Columbus County. That's quite a legacy for helping the needy folks in our county. Titus, on average, about how many families would you say that the Toy Store serves each year?
Well, over the past 9 years, it seems to be averaging about 150 families a year. Of course, each family has different numbers of children involved. It can range from 1 up to 8 children per family. And so we've been able, by God's grace and help, to be able to help many during that Christmas time that haven't at other times been able to provide for their children. And we're thankful to the Lord for giving us all the opportunity to help out so many families. So I think it's done pretty well. If you just multiply the 150 by 9, of course, you get 1,350 families. So that's a very high number for being able to reach out through the Toy Store.
That's amazing to help that many folks each year. It's quite an undertaking, I'm sure. Darryll, how does the Toy Store work? I mean, what's the process for the Toy Store?
Well, throughout the year, we're doing different things, and we'll be talking about that in a few moments of raising money and all. But toys are purchased, and really beginning at the first of the school year, families are referred to come and to be a part of the Toy Store. And that's we have phones that are ringing off the hook during that appointment time, and it's exciting to see how many respond.
The process involves a lot of hard work by a lot of different people, I'm sure. And yes. Titus, when you talk about purchasing toys, where do you get the money, the funds to run the Toy Store each year, Titus?
Well, the funds come in many different ways. We're able to apply for grants from different companies that are willing to help. So many of them that I don't want to name them because I'm afraid I'll miss some. But that's one way. The local churches help out a great deal when they're giving, and also the businesses in our area, in our county, are willing to reach out and help a great deal. And also the Toy Store sponsors a golf tournament every September. And through that, we're able to raise funds by those who pay a fee to play in the game of golf that day. And also, people can sponsor a hole, and through that sponsorship, they can have a family name placed on a card at the country club that is held, and you can either do it in honor or memory of a loved one, such as that. And so it's been a great deal of help to raise the funds, and we have so many people giving. Sometimes individuals just send us money.
Darryll, you've talked about the process, and you've talked about the way that you raise funds, and I know that you and Titus aren't the only ones doing the work. Tell me about the volunteers. I mean, how many volunteers does it take to run the toy store, and where do you get the volunteers from? Give us an idea about that.
Okay, a lot of people don't realize how much work is involved in this. We start working on this. We start working on it as soon as the toy store of the previous year has ended. And as Titus has said, there's grants that we apply for and other ways that we're raising funds, and it takes volunteers to write these grants and to get in the applications. And then we start having meetings, and so we got volunteers there. And then we have the toy store golf tournament, and that takes a lot of volunteers. We've got 20-some teams that come out and play, and the teams are 4 people each, and so we have to provide food. We have to do all sorts of setup and things to get things ready for that. And then we have the sending out the letters. There are some people that come in and help send those out, as well as the time of appointments. We have to have teams that come in early of a morning on a Monday and Tuesday, usually a week or two there before Thanksgiving, and they're manning the telephones. And then on top of that, we have the store itself, and we have to set up. We have individuals coming in from high schools. We have young people coming in to help set up. We've got other groups. We've had nurses, all sorts of groups that have come in. And then the actual store itself, each day we have to have teams that are working each area, and that's the way it is. It's really a precision thing as it's working. And these come from people calling in to the association office and saying, I want to work with the toy store this year, and letting us know. Also, people, and Titus is in charge of this, of getting counselors for it. Plus, we also have, before the store can start, we have shoppers that go out and buy the toys. And we're talking a lot of toys that have to be bought. And we usually have around 150 to 200 volunteers when all is said and done that have come in, and each one can give a story of how wonderful it felt to be able to do what they've done.
Now, in Columbus County, Darryll, we have a large Hispanic population. What about families that might come through that don't speak English? Do you have interpreters on hand, and how helpful are they?
Yes, we have volunteers that come in, and we even have a minister and his wife who work with Hispanics, and we also have people who are bilingual. They not only speak English, but they speak Spanish as well, and that is so helpful. They come through, they help with the shopping for the shoppers as they come through, and then they also help when it comes time for the counseling. they will go in with them and count. They will interpret there, and it has been a blessing. For several years, it was very difficult for us to find someone, but in recent years, we have been able to find people who are willing to do this, and we just thank God that He sent them our way, and we thank them each year for the hard work that they put in.
Titus, if somebody that's watching this show wanted to volunteer to work at the toy store or the golf tournament or something like that, how would they go about doing that? What do they need to do?
Well, it's very simple. Teresa, that is our administrative assistant there at the Columbus Baptist Association office, you can call there at 910-642-2155 and let her know you want to volunteer, or even email her. And her email address is Teresa, and let me spell that because there are two different ways of spelling Teresa, is TERESA at columbusbaptistnc.com. And they can let her know that they have a desire to help volunteer and help in the toy store, and she'll find a spot for them and put them right to work. And I want to agree with you that you both have said. So many people who have joined in and volunteered, they love it, and they love coming back and participating. And so I'd like to say, if they've never volunteered before, just give it a try and see how much it makes an effect on their own lives. And I think we will have even more people willing to step up and help us throughout this time of Christmas to help others out that are less fortunate.
I know that I've worked the toy store every year that you've had it, and there are folks that have been there all 9 years and plan on coming back this year to volunteer. So between 150, 200 volunteers to make it run, we need all the help we can get. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, Darryll, with concerns of the virus going around and all the different precautions and everything that's taken place with COVID-19, how is that going to affect the toy store, and what significant differences are you seeing having to prepare for this year?
Well, of course, each year we've tried to make sure that all of our, not only our staff of volunteers, as well as those who come through, who are coming through to shop, we have tried to see to it that they have protection, as well as that their privacy is protected as well. But of course, as with all things this year, everything's going to have to be a little bit different, a little bit more so than before. And so some of the things that we are looking at doing is revamping as far as the layout of the toy store that we have done in the past. We're going to try, we're providing more space for the people who will be coming in to work, as well as those who will be coming in to shop, so that they can keep their distances. We are going to make sure that like hand sanitizer and things of that nature will be available. And in the counseling time, all those areas, we want to make sure that everybody doesn't have to worry about coming to toy store.
In making sure that everybody is I guess properly distanced and ensuring their privacy and all of those things. This is not just the precautions for the clients that'll come through and be served. These are precautions for your volunteers as well, correct?
That's correct. Like I said, for all those, our staff, as well as for our shoppers, this is for everyone involved. And you know, we hope everybody understands that this is something that we all have to, work with, and I think everybody will understand. And of course, there's a whole lot of prayer going into it as well.
Yes, sir. Now, Titus, if somebody is in need and that they need to be referred, how would they go about doing that? I mean, I know that they can't just call up and say, "Hey, I want to come shop." How do they get into the program?
Well, that is something very important that we really need to stress is that the individual cannot refer themselves. It cannot be done that way. It's either going to be done through a pastor, school counselors, DSS workers. They can recommend them. Also, the pregnancy care center there in Whiteville, they can go there and they can be recommended through that office. The sheriff's office will be recommending for the toy store, hospice workers such as that. I hope I'm not leaving out any group, but we have to do it this way to make it more efficient and reaching those that are in need for the families. So I have to stress that you just cannot walk off the street and come into our store to be able to shop. You have to go through the process, and as we know, with the phone calls that will be coming in and all the letters that will be sent out, that's the way they have to be referred by one of these groups.
Now, these groups verify that the need is legitimate, and then they make the referral to the association, and then the letters are sent out from that. Correct, Titus?
That's correct. Exactly.
Darryll, as we think about coming to an end of this time together today, I know that one of the main reasons for the toy store is to help those that are in need, but I know that the real reason is so that parents and grandparents can be reached with the gospel of Christ. How many individuals have you seen through the last 9 years coming through the toy store that have made professions of faith? Because that's really important.
Yes, it is. Of course, we think toys, Christmas, they go hand in hand, but the real reason that we are doing this is to spread the gospel. And I am so overjoyed with the fact that we have been able to reach 210 people, around that number, over the past 9 years that have made professions of faith. And that doesn't count the number of individuals who have rededicated their lives to the Lord. And so it's been a wonderful experience.
Lots of seeds planted. You never know how those seeds will grow once they leave. You might even not recognize until we reach heaven what decisions were made as a result of that being shared.
That is for sure. That is for sure.
As we get ready to finish up here, do you have any other information or maybe a story that you could share with us, Darryll, about a particular family or something that you remember from the last 9 years? Anything you want to share with us before we go?
Well, there's so many instances that have taken place, but it really moves me when I see families that come in, and first of all, they're not expecting. We get new families each year, and these families who have never been there, they're not expecting what they are exposed to as far as the toys are concerned, and to see their reaction and to see how moved they are, so many of them to tears, because they just did not know that people cared that much for them. And it's just a wonderful experience, and it's to see them accept Christ as Savior. That's the most moving right there.
Well, Darryll and Titus, thank you so much for being with us today as we've come to talk about the Columbus Baptist Association Toy Store. If you would like to be one of those 150 to 200 volunteers, once again, you can call the Columbus Baptist Association office and talk to Teresa, and that number is 910-642-2155, or you can email Teresa at columbusbaptistnc.com, and get on the schedule to be one of our volunteers. We would love to have as many as we could. And gentlemen, I know it's early. We're not even really into July fully yet, but it won't be long before Christmas will be right on top of us. So I wish you a Merry Christmas, and I look forward to having this be one of our most successful years in the toy store. And until next time, we thank you for joining us today, and we hope that you'll join us again in the future as we take a look at another business or nonprofit in Columbus County and how they're helping the people of Columbus County improve their lives each and every day. God bless you, and have a great day.